home, right?
And see, you're always the bad guy, Eddie, because you're always the last guy.
Well, I got you at the front and the back this time. I got the first thing in the back. First and last.
First and last.
So you had a good turnout at KK, either here or further on the end.
Yes,
Whatever works for you.
it was great. This is very posh, dude. Very posh.
This is the new, this is, Rob's been here, I think.
Not this one.
Not this one? You were in the temporary home with the
next
hip hop
door to
guy
hip-hop
across
guy.
the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're putting, the company that owns these radio stations, Clear Channel, decided they had 5 stations in New York, and they were all spread out all over New York and New Jersey, where the studios, and they said, why not just buy one couple floors in one building and save on rent and put everyone under the same roof? So you actually have 5 radio stations right in these 2 floors. So if you're what they call a multi-format artist, you could conceivably be on 5 different stations without leaving this floor in New York, at this, just by walking down the halls.
And are there those kinds of artists?
I don't know. There may be there may be a few guys that cross over to 3 or 4, because the formats on the other stations are light FM, like elevator music light, top 40, hip hop. So that would be the hardest one to cross over to. And who am I forgetting? Forgetting someone. Power Z, Light, Us.
Don't know.
So you could probably knock out 3 of the 5 if you were a real mainstream type of artist.
But it makes sense keeping it all under the one roof, doesn't it? From economically as much as
Yeah,
you know.
just in terms of leases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I talked to Mike today, Fiance. I told him you were asking for him.
Where is he?
He's in Miami.
He's in Miami.
Yeah. He said to say hello. He's going to dial it up on the internet and listen, and
Okay, cool.
he's excited for the tour and the record. And so we had a little bit of British weather today, huh?
Well, the one person at the in-store says, bloody British, you brought the weather with you, I say. So don't blame us.
All right, here we go.
I think his music is loud and repetitive, and I think his stage manner is pretentious, rude, and obnoxious.
All right, we are back. It's Eddie Trunk, and it is always a great honor to welcome into the studio one of the greats, one of the architects of this music that we all know and love and play every week and celebrate on this show, 3/5 of the mighty Judas Priest. Good to see you guys.
With Eddie Trump.
The Priest is back. Well, I said at the top of this week, you're just wrapping up a very busy week of press all over the area.
Yeah.
I said, you're going to be sick of seeing me by the end of the week when it rolls around. So I buffered you guys having to see me again by providing food. Glenn requested the shepherd's pie. We got that in for you.
Yeah.
And we also got some beverages and everything. So I wanted to make sure you were fueled and ready to go for your final interview of the week.
Absolutely, and we got to put the cracker down tomorrow to fly back to England and get into the heavy metal rehearsal mode, put the set list together.
I can think of another word starts with the same letter as fueled.
I don't think we can say that, right?
After the busiest week of our life.
Well, talk a little bit about that, if you will. You just got done doing a ton of radio and a ton of press, and you're here directly from your first in-store in a long time. In New Jersey, you just did an in-store.
Yeah, we were down at the Vintage Vinyl.
Great record store. I grew up going there.
Yeah. And it was like heavy metal weather. There was thunder and lightning and wind and rain, and all those hardcore metalheads were standing outside waiting to get in, and we had a great time there.
KK said that what'd you say? People accused you of bringing the weather.
Yeah, bloody British, you come here bringing your weather, they said. Don't blame us.
Just make things more comfortable for you. That's all.
Our fans, Eddie. I mean, nothing would keep them away, and as everybody knows, this is the first time. Almost as a complete band at the Priest, we've done an in-store, for many, many years. So
and you did a hot topic in Philly too,
right?
Yeah,
signing the babies.
Yeah, tell me about that. Glenn told me that off just a few minutes ago.
Well, we're only allowed to sign one item, and a woman bought in baby twins, so
3 weeks old.
we didn't know which one to sign.
Now wait a minute. Do you still have to buy the bracelet to get the record, even if you're getting your kids signed?
I thought they were dolls.
Little chucky dolls squirming around.
They're fantastic. They're little baby metalheads.
So really, how old were these kids?
3 weeks.
3 weeks old.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my! Did you think they were like bringing you like a metal sacrifice or something?
That was
Could have gone the
about
wrong way
as big
for
as your
King
foot.
Diamond.
And did you sign them?
Of course we did.
Well-
Sign the babies.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, we're here to do the job. I mean, what can we
I
say?
think that's just, you know...
They're the
gotta go into
youngest
the book
Priest
of
fans.
metal.
Youngest Priest fans.
3 weeks old, heavy metal heads.
And where do you
For 3
sign a
weeks.
3-week-old?
They've
Like
got
on the
some jerseys.
diaper?
They got some jerseys. Especially, he made some special jerseys for them.
And they'd stuff these these like CDs up their jerseys to get something flat and solid to write on. Otherwise, it would have been a massive, you know, Jello and whatever.
KK's just shaking
I'm
his head
getting the
like.
Humane Society's going to charge in any minute now, whatever. But like, you know, whatever the client wants, you know, this is cool.
Well, I'll tell you what. When my children were born, I have a 7-month-old son, and I have a 4-year-old daughter. And when my kids were born, doing a show like this, my very generous listeners, I found out through them, they sent me gifts, and I had no idea. But there is a really big line of metal-influenced kids' baby clothing. As a matter of fact, I think there's a take on the British Steel cover that says like "Baby on the Blade" or something like that.
Baby on the
I swear to God.
No, it's not true. It's not true.
Yeah. Let us stop now. Michael Jackson had nothing on Judas Priest.
All right, well, moving on. You're doing your final interview here with me, which I appreciate, before you go back to England tomorrow and get ready for the release of Nostradamus. You've been talking about this album to so many people all week and the upcoming tour. The album is in stores on June 17th. As I said earlier, we've been playing it for a while here on the show. The response has been great. Got a second track from Visions a week ago, which I also played. We'll play both tracks tonight while you're here. But, I mean, the response, let me ask you this, because obviously everyone listening to my show knows and loves Priest, but since you've just finished a week of press, the people that you've spoken to, has it been unanimously people telling you they love what they've heard?
Yes.
I mean, what's the response been, the vibe?
Yes, it's been fantastic.
Everybody, I think everybody understands it's such a, you know, there's 100 minutes of music there, and you can't absorb it the first listen. You've got to listen to it a few times before you can really understand the album. But everybody seems to have been knocked out with it.
And I mean, it's been an amazing journey to get this record finally done and released and get to this point. You've spent a lot of time on getting this together. And I know Glenn and KK, you produced the record, and you know Rob has been on the show a number of times during the recording of the record, giving us updates about what was going on. But for you, KK, was it the most ambitious project? Was it the most challenging Priest record so far?
Yes, I guess so. But it was a great. We just totally enjoyed every minute of it, really. With the classical elements, to bring that in musically. I did a lot of different dimensions, and who knows, it could be the way to go for the future, as Nostradamus said, you know.
Well, I mean, one of the coolest things about it, there's two things that struck me immediately, because I've heard the whole thing, is the guitar work between you, KK, and you, Glenn, to me, is phenomenal. I've always loved each of your playing and how it's worked in Judas Priest, but I think on this album, for some reason, and tell me, Glenn, if this is something that you went for and worked on a little bit more, but I just think the way you guys complement and work off of each other is probably better than I've ever heard it on a Priest record.
Yeah, we put a lot of time into the guitar work, you know, and I mean, our feelings on guitars are that you do what's appropriate for a track, you know. It's either melodic or it's exciting, as long as it benefits the track and is justifiably there. You know, guitar work shouldn't just be there for the sake of it. So our motive in this album was to make the guitar work very appropriate to the album and what the album was all about, particularly the classical sections and the operatic sections. And so we put a lot of time in, and I think it paid off.
And KK, playing with this guy now for 35 years or whatever it's been, is there still things that you guys discover with each other's playing when you get into the studio?
Well, I think the thing is we take each segment of music, in its own right, and really try to do it justice, with what we do on the guitars, and it can be acoustic bits or real heavy, fast playing. As long as it fits that musical piece, that's the most important thing, and hopefully 9 times out of 10 there's some pretty good originality in there.